All right, now we're going to take a look at how to make a sandbox from contour lines. This is a little bit more accurate way of mapping out the topography of an existing space. I'm looking at an example that I found of a grading plan for a house that is built into a hillside. And I have attached this or included this on Canvas so that you're welcome to follow along. This is not for our assignment, but this is really just kind of more for practice and demonstration. I have imported this as a JPEG because that's the type of file it is. So I went to File, Import, and then JPEG. And now I want to scale this up so it's accurate. Luckily, this plan has a graphic scale, and it shows me that this little dark area here, which is kind of hard to see in my actual SketchUp file. It's a lot easier to see in the attached document. But I know that this is 0, 10, 20, 30 feet. So I can scale this up using my measuring tape. So I'll go ahead and select my tape, and I'll start at 0 and drag along the red until I click to that 10-foot point. And right now it's telling me that it's only 5 7/8 of an inch. We want to change that by typing in 10 feet, enter. It's telling me that that's going to resize the model, which is fine. I'm going to say yes, enter. And it does not resize my scale figure, but it does now make this the actual accurate size it should be. So that's my step one. Now I want to start looking at these contour lines and tracing them so that I can tell the Sandbox tool which contour lines to follow. Every 5 lines is a slightly darker line. So that tells me that these are kind of my important lines to look at. So I'm going to be tracing along this line, and this line, all the way until I get to the street. All right, so when I start to trace these, I'm going to go ahead and engage my line tool. I'm not going to use arcs. I'm not going to use freehand because that's going to create a lot more facets. I really want to minimize the amount of broken lines that the Sandbox tool will end up making, and that'll make sense in a moment. But just because if I have hundreds of little lines here and then it's starting to connect them, it's going to create hundreds of little triangles, and that's going to make the model a lot heavier. So I'm just going to trace along these lines. And here's a quick little tip, something I've kind of come upon a little bit more recently. Sometimes when you're tracing lines on an existing plan, it might start to be difficult to see the black line. So you might want to switch to a new style while you're doing this. So I'm going to go to my window, styles, and I'm actually going to look at my color sets. So I've got these color sets here. I kind of like this one here because it shows me that once I click on it, my lines are a lot, they come in orange, so they're a little easier to see on the plan. But I'm going to take this one step further, and I'm going to click on profiles so that the profiles come up at 3 thick. So they're really, really heavy. So now as I'm tracing these lines, they start showing up in orange, and it's really, really easy to see where I have drawn the line and where if there's a spot where I need to connect it somewhere a little bit better, it'll be easier to see. So I won't bore you with drawing all of these lines. We're gonna pause for a moment, and we'll pick this back up once all of the every 5 feet contour lines are in place.